Louisville Orchestra is gearing up for its first concert of the season, Classics. Our Kentucky home will be held this September at Iroquois Amphitheater, and you can buy your tickets now. Joining with more on this big performance and what else the orchestra has planned is conductor Teddy Abrams. Teddy, it's always great to have you here at Great Day Live.
Great to be here.
I am personally looking so forward to this performance because Iroquois Amphitheater is just a beautiful venue for a season opener, and you all have done this before.
We love Iroquois. It's one of our homes. We usually play at least one concert there every single season, and this is actually how we're kicking off the 23-24 season with one of the greatest soloists from Kentucky, Chris Thiele, who's going to be performing a brand new concerto that we actually co-commissioned, that he's written for him to sing, to play, and to storytell actually with the Louisville Orchestra. So this is a really, really big deal.
And I love how even with your season openers, well, it's been a year, I think, of just like first, let's try this, let's try that. Even with the season opener, you're thinking, how can we elevate? How can we do something different to kind of bring music to this community?
Well, that's the Louisville Orchestra brand. We're known not only around this community, but now around the world for innovating, for doing things that are incredibly exciting, for doing things differently, and helping redefine what an orchestra can be in this moment. And orchestra is still one of the great symbols of music making, of togetherness, of community. And in Louisville, we think that this community deserves the very best, the most exciting. And that's why people from around the world are recognizing it that way. And that means that for our season opener, we have to do something that reflects not only the talent of our orchestra, but also the cultural assets of our state. And we were thinking about what kind of program should we put on? Because not only is this program going to be performed at Iroquois, it's something we're taking around to the rest of the state as part of our Commonwealth touring program. We wanted to make sure that we featured the orchestra in a really virtuosic and brilliant way, and they are phenomenal. They're sounding so good right now. But also to have a soloist like Chris, who is the greatest living mandolin player, maybe the greatest mandolin player who's ever lived, and he's from Kentucky. We want to showcase, again, the culture, the music from our state, because it's really some of the most important culture around the world. Everyone loves it.
That's shaped other musicians' lives. It's shaped like an entire industry, that it's great that you're kind of tapping into that and celebrating that, right?
That's exactly right.
Got lost at some point. That we need to raise that up.
Yes, and it seems like maybe sometimes we don't always celebrate it enough. It's something that I really feel that the entire country, the entire world needs to see when they think about Louisville, when they think about Kentucky, to remember that this is the place that generated some of the best loved cultural assets. It's the place where bourbon and music was born. There's a reason for that. There's something about, maybe it's the water, or just the strength of our community and the belief in what we are able to produce. But it's our job at the orchestra to constantly reaffirm and celebrate that. And that's something that's a little different than the way a lot of people see orchestras. They don't always see orchestras as necessarily celebrating the culture of their own community. They're often thinking of it as something that brings in culture from the outside. Well, we believe that music is an incredible mixture of all those things. Yes, we can play music from 400 years ago, and we do that as well as any orchestra in the world. But we also can play music written for us right now by musicians living right here. And that's the beauty of that interconnected kind of ecosystem. It's all music that's being made for us. And the orchestra is really the only place where you can see that diversity of culture in just a single setting. And that's what we do at every single show at the orchestra.
You mentioned you're taking this on tour across the state, part of your Commonwealth tour. Where all will you visit in the coming year?
So we're so excited about this.
You're probably thinking of your schedule going, oh my.
Well, I'm trying to remember because we've already just done 3 weeks of touring in the last few months. And we've been to Eastern Kentucky, we toured Appalachia. Then we went all throughout Central Kentucky and a few other extra places. And then this tour, we're going to be in Henderson, we're going to be in Murray. It's a huge schedule. I mean, and then I think it's in 24, we're going to be all throughout Central and Western Kentucky. So this is a really intense schedule. We wanted to make sure that the orchestra visits every single part of Kentucky. It's dozens and dozens of not only performances with the full orchestra, but visits to schools, to libraries, to hospitals, community centers, because what we're trying to do is take the language of music, which is universal, and then use it to build relationships throughout our own state. Sometimes people don't even recognize that in Kentucky we have elements of fracturing. There are people in Louisville that haven't been out to the beauty of Appalachia, that haven't visited Western Kentucky, that don't know these communities, and vice versa. And we think that to build the strongest possible state, one that feels like we're all together, we're solving our problems together, there's a sense of unity, the language of music is the perfect avenue to do that. And that's why we have this program. It's all about building relationships between the different parts of our state through music, which we all love and we all care about together.
I love too that you're taking it to the people. I mean, theaters are beautiful and grand, but sometimes they can feel formal, and people maybe don't feel like, oh, I don't want to go into a place like that. I don't know. Don't you feel like too, like you're connecting with people in a different way when you have just these very everyday venues?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've played in all kinds of places already.
The caves.
We
Mammoth
were
Cave,
everywhere from in the middle of Mammoth Cave to just outside the City Hall in Glasgow to a giant arena in Pikeville. We were over there at the App Wireless Arena to the high school in Harlan. Like it doesn't really matter as long as a community is excited to have us. We can adapt. We'll play anywhere. And we've also played in incredible theaters. There are beautiful theaters in Ashland, Kentucky, and in Prestonsville. I mean, just the number of places that actually have just the most welcoming spirit and want to see the orchestra come through and are just so excited about what music can do is just mind-boggling because it's in our blood here in Kentucky.
So when you're not touring, not performing, because you perform with other community groups as well, then what else will the season hold for you where people can see you perform here in the Louisville area?
Well, then we're going to be back at our main venue at Whitney Hall.
I got to keep up with you. It's like, wow.
And for the classic season, we have a tremendous range of music that we're going to be presenting. In fact, if you take a look at the season, you'll see basically every era of music represented. So for our first performance, again, we've got Chris Thiele, the incredible mandolin player. He's the lead singer and songwriter for the Punch Brothers, and Nickel Creek, incredible musician. After that, we have a piece of music that I just want to draw everyone's attention to. This is a little later in the season by John Adams called Harmoniolera. And it's one of the great pieces of music written in the last 50 years or so. And it's kind of rarely performed, but it's something that everybody needs to attend because this piece is absolutely mind-boggling. It's just this kind of fantasy that uses every possible color in the orchestra. And again, it's something you're not going to see come around very frequently. And it's the first time the orchestra has played it, so you have to be there for that. Mahler's Sixth Symphony, which is one of the great masterpieces of the entire orchestral repertoire, that's coming on later. Then we've got a program at the end of the season that features 3 brand new world premieres by the composers that are working for the Louisville Orchestra, the Louisville Orchestra Creators Corps. We're the only orchestra in the world that has 3 full-time composers working for us. So it's really an overwhelming kind of presentation this year. Oh, not to mention the movie Nosferatu.
Yes.
Yeah, you know that crazy, absolutely really frightening vampire movie, Nosferatu, the silent movie. We've commissioned a brand new score to go with that to celebrate Halloween. So there's just one thing after another at the orchestra, and what we want is for people to come to everything. We want them to come to the entire season. So subscribe to the classic season because you'll really get the most incredible spread that represents the world of music.
Well, thank you so much for giving us a sneak peek at the whole season. Thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you for having us.
We could listen to you for the whole hour.
Oh, there's a lot to talk about.
There's a lot.
Yeah, we
there's
really
a
appreciate
lot,
it.
but we want to get people to that season opener if you can get there. It is September the 16th at Iroquois Amphitheater. For the full schedule, just head on over to LouisvilleOrchestra.org.